Um, it sort of sounds that, I mean, the kind of question sort of is kind of the question that could be asked of any field of any topic. Um, I think the primary mark of a scholar is hard work. Not all, moments in life are public events where you're celebrated. Most of the time you're sitting there staring at, I guess we used to be your pad and pencil, but now it's, your computer screen, and you're trying to understand some naughty problem, and you got to do all kinds of analyses and talk to a bunch of people and try one thing or another to try to solve these puzzles. But a lot of times that's more likely to be um, failure than success. I mean, success will come, maybe, but and along the way, you're going to have lots of heartache and disappointment and everything else. And so you have to be dedicated. The life of a scholar, demography included, is not for the faint-hearted. You're not going to go from one celebrated moment to the next celebrated moment. You're going to have a lot of disappointments and ups and downs in your career, and you have to kind of believe in what you're doing and be willing to work hard, not for 6 months to finish the dissertation, but for 10, 20, 30 years to be able to keep your nose to the grindstone. And it's often a very lonely kind of pursuit. Even if you're collaborating with other people, you've got to sit down and rework your ideas, and sometimes say that I've been following a path for a long time and it isn't working out. I've got to figure out something else to do. That's sort of the individual advice to individual scholars. To the collective enterprise of population research centers is that other people are more important than you are. Most people, particularly if they haven't had a lot of experience in the population field, they feel that institutions and individuals are one and the same. What can I do to make the center reflect me? What can I do to have the center be an extension of all of my pet ideas? And that is basically a road to ruin. No center worth its salt is going to be a reflection of one person. And if you look, just do a simple analysis of the people who have had long careers as being a director of the center, those might have had a lively beginning, but they became stale after a while because you kind of run out of ideas. And so the good idea of a center director is to help other people establish their careers, promote them, and all of your good ideas and suggestions, those will probably be forgotten, and they need to be forgotten because the center is a collective enterprise, not something that's going to reflect one person, no matter how brilliant they are.
Do I have any sage advice to offer? I guess my main advice is to maintain a willingness to work, to draw on other disciplines, to be multidisciplinary. It may not be in your own short-term professional interest to publish in journals that aren't your own, so to speak. But in the long run, you'll find it intellectually quite broadening and energizing. It really varies. Some folks like it. Some folks are just hardcore economists. They do great economics. That's all they do. They never look outside. There's a role for that, but there's also the role for folks like us, like me, and others that bridge disciplines and do some work that you otherwise probably wouldn't get done because you and your co-author or co-authors look at the world differently, and you come to an agreement, but it's an agreement that neither of you would have come to on your own.
That's a hard one. I think the challenges ahead are going to be existential, really, for this little niche of ours. Without center grant funding, CSDE can't offer the kind of research and training support it's been doing for the past 20 years. And the future of the whole center grant funding system at NIH is uncertain right now. Funding prospects for individual researchers are equally dire. Even senior faculty with established programs are having their grants terminated from one day to the next. So it must be terrifying for the next generation of demographers who are now entering the workforce. It's a really difficult period we're moving into. And I don't think anybody really knows exactly how bad it can get really bad. I mean, it's clear it can get really bad. We don't know how bad it's going to get, but it's not going to be easy. And the university as a whole is going to be reeling from this with the indirect cost cut and all the other, like the whole medical school and public health. I don't even know how they're going to exist, to tell you the truth. So it's, yeah, existential.
And I think that, as I've already implied, I think that one of the main contributions of pop centers and CSDE in particular is a recognition that this is a service to researchers, and to keep that in mind, that it's not an organization that has a specific scientific mission of its own, is supportive of the missions and the training that other researchers want to engage in.
Words of advice. Celebrate the good times, because there will be bad times. Stay in the research, and when there are financial issues, try and stay in the work as much as possible. I mean, when there were difficult fiscal decisions to be made and reorganizations, being in the CSD seminar and seeing people deliver their work, especially the students, just lifted me out of a foul mood. Seriously. And it made all that difficult work seem completely worthwhile. So yeah, that's a piece of advice I would give. You can get lost in the budgets and in personnel issues and conflicts and cuts, and they can be devastating. But you can be lifted out of that, not wholly, but by the work that we do, and how important it is.